Welcome back, lads and ladettes, to episode 86.
We're getting so close to 100 at this point, McGee. It's actually so exciting. We're almost at triple digits. We're going to run out of our player battles to do. I don't know. I still haven't decided whether we run it back and go back to number one again or just
do a season 2 of revisiting. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, there were some mumblings, there was some chatter between us of potentially incorporating motocross racers as the number 126 as a jersey number. But I don't know. That might be kind of cheesy. We'll have to have that discussion at a later point in time, and once we get there, really.
I feel like the problem with going into the triple digit numbers and trying to compete guys in there is that even at that point, you really only are going to end up with motocross racers, and not a lot of them are still going to have triple digits. Like a lot of NASCAR, F1, motocross, they're still all going to be below 100 at that point. Track runners below 100. So you're going to have a tough time even finding those people. And then it's going to be so limited to just them. We might just have to go back and just go to we might have to call it 101 and just go up from the hundreds, but go by the second digits. So 01, 02 and go up that way.
Yeah. And plus, I think with the motocross racers and stuff, nobody would know. The player battles would lose their significance because I don't think anybody would know any of them.
Yeah.
Is Travis Pastrana, is that I feel like that's the only motorcycle guy I know. Is he still doing it? Is he retired? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't even know that guy, that's a good point though, because a lot of these athletes that we compete, we don't know who they are. No. Anyways, one of the athletes in this competition, I had no idea who this guy was until I Googled him. He kind of looked familiar because I feel like I've seen him before, maybe just as a meme on Twitter or something. But then you kind of get to know them and they play a sport that you're familiar with. So you can kind of get an idea. Even the old NFL players and stuff, you can kind of get an idea of who they were, or other people will know who they are. These motocross people and stuff, it's going to be, long shot.
It's pretty crazy to me. Not in terms, getting outside of motocross now, because I think everybody's just falling asleep. Nobody really wants to hear about motocross. Sorry to motocross fans, but just the way it is. I speaking of unrecognizable athletes, I think the MLB is a sport where I feel like a lot of the players are ghosts. You would never. I could walk by down the street and I could see a whole Major League Baseball team, and not a single person would be other than Vladdy Jr. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think I'd know a fair amount, a respectable amount, but yeah, exactly. Same page. You even think about, which I actually kind of thought was funny the other day when I was watching, is George Springer got back into the lineup. So he plays his first game back. The next night he's not in the rotation, but he's in the dugout and can play.
Yeah.
So you think about it, there's all the position guys, the pitcher, the ace or what, starting pitcher, the catcher, you've got all the bullpen guys. And then aside from let's just run through them quickly. So catcher, first base, second base, shortstop, third base, left field, center field, right field. Aside from those guys, there's just a whole group of guys that are kind of just hanging out in the dugout who could go. Yeah, they could go into the game at any time. They could just be there to hang out with the boys. And what a
great that would be, just hanging out and playing pranks. People
Munenori Kawasaki, man, that was his role.
Yeah, he's a good locker room guy. And it's crazy to do because I read some article that I don't know, read an article, saw it on TikTok. It's all so intertwined these days. I feel like everybody's oh, I read something the other day. It's no, you didn't. Shut up. TikTok. Everybody gets all their information news from TikTok now. But it was a guy who was a Major League Baseball pitcher. I can't remember the guy's name. I'll have to do some research after this, after I say it, then double fact check the name and then get back to you. But essentially, this guy doubled as a Major League pitcher by day and a rodeo guy by night. He would ride bulls and shit. And because baseball was so anonymous and they don't really do ads, or the players aren't very well recognized other than baseball fans, that this guy had a whole life as a professional cowboy, essentially riding bulls. And nobody knew that he was doing this. His team didn't know that he was a rodeo clown. And the rodeo people didn't know a Major League Baseball pitcher. Wow. How does that even happen as a professional?
Yeah. He's just another professional athlete. He's in an entirely different sport, completely
Yeah,
unrelated, and no one has any idea in
nobody
either
has any
sport.
idea. Talk about a double life, man. Maybe the most iconic double life since Miley Cyrus and Hannah.
Yeah, that is a pretty good double life to be leading that. Uh, yeah, honestly, rodeo too. Like that's so dangerous. Imagine
Right?
coming back and like getting injured from that, and like you can't make your next pitching start because you got injured riding bulls in your other profession.
I'm sure management would not be too happy with that. Like, I'm sure they should have like introduce a clause in his next contract. I still gotta find the guy's name. I'll find it. But
Yeah, because I think NHL players have like you can't ski, you can't snowboard kind of things in their contracts because they could get injured doing those things. So then you just think about like they're not doing that. This guy's actually elevating it to riding bulls.
you know who it was?
Who?
Star MLB pitcher Madison Bumgarner.
What?
Yes, there was an alias to compete in team roping rodeo competitions.
Oh my God. Wait, what was his alias? Did it say there?
No, it's on CNN.com. I'm reading right now. This guy's
CNN has this article.
yes, yes. I'm pulling it
Madison
up right now.
Bumgarner.
Madison Bumgarner, rodeo clown, using a
Wow.
fake name.
That's hilarious. He's so he's so popular. He's like actually a legitimate star in the MLB.
I know, and it's crazy to think because like I can't remember the last time I've seen like the MLB promote its players or like even like a MLB player in like a Gatorade ad or like any sort of
Yeah.
advertising. They don't do a very good job of promoting their players. So
No.
I doubt in my mind that like people wouldn't know who this guy is unless you were a fan of his or the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Madison Bumgarner, rodeo clown. Wow.
Interesting. All right. Well, honestly, let's get into something else that's pretty crazy here. And that's this competition that we have for this player battle. It's honestly probably tied into rodeo and bull riding in some sort of way, especially knowing where this competition originated from and what it is. But straight up, this competition, episode 86 competition, cow chip tossing competition. So for those who don't know, cow chip is cow poo. It's cow poo throwing competition is what it is. So it's a game where you need to throw a piece of dried buffalo dung to the farthest distance possible. The person whose chip flings the longest is then crowned the winner. Hundreds of people, including young and old, fled to the competition that's based in Texas. And the competition is conducted in categories for men, women, and teams. The contestants are given a choice to pick their winning chip from the pile of dung. So there's just a pile that's out there. You can pick the poop that you want to throw. The cow chip has to be more than 6 inches wide, though. Champions of the game, previous champions suggest that the smaller the chip, the longer the fling. This competition is conducted in the month of April in Beaver, Texas, every year with concerts, craft shows, and a parade before the main event being the cow chip tossing competition.
Oh, there's a hand washing station there.
I know. There's a photo of a guy throwing it too, and throwing the cow poo. And when I saw the photo, I thought it was just like a rock. Like I feel like, it was just dry, and it was like a big piece of like, it looked like soil, like, which is obviously what cow poop like gets turned. They use manure to fertilize like in soil and stuff, but it just looked like a huge piece of soil. And then I read the description and it was like cow poop throwing competition. Like, that's great. Like, that's disgusting.
That's the one I'm going with. 6 inches wide though. Poor cow, man. That guy's some laxative or some sort of some help on that one. It's a battle.
Yeah, 6 inches wide. That's a healthy piece. Well, too, think about like that's the minimum.
Yeah.
So there's 6 pieces bigger than 6 inches in that pile.
You'd like to think that if anybody had a real drive to win this competition, why would you upgrade the size of the piece of poo? You'd like to think lighter, more mobile, fling it farther. But that being said, maybe the heavier pieces have more velocity once they got going.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Like, how would you throw it if you were participating? Would it be like overhand baseball toss, or would you shot? I think I'd do like a discus, like spin around, overhand grip on it, and just like spin.
I think that it would depend on like the build of the piece of poo. Like if it's more rounded, I'm going overhand baseball.
Yeah.
If it's more disc-like, I'm going with your
Yeah.
method of like a disc and throwing it that way,
Yeah.
or like sidearm, like a rock skipping, like throwing it like that. But otherwise, I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm going overhand with it if it's more round
Madison
shape.
Bumgarner
Yeah, I'm Madison Bumgarner. Maybe he actually competes in the cow chip tossing championship as
I
well.
wouldn't. I wouldn't put it past him. Wouldn't
Yeah.
put it past him. He's a competition, so I doubt. He's probably done something similar to this.
So episode 86, our competitors, it was hard to find guys who wore number 86. So for the NBA, there was only two guys I could find ever in the history of the NBA who wore number 86. Both of them played for the Boston Celtics. This one guy I chose because I think he looks like Vikaitis from Semi-Pro. So I thought it was pretty funny. And then yeah, for the NHL, it came up that there was only like three guys who wore it based on just the list that I had seen. And this is one of the guys that's a number hadn't been worn in the NHL until 2006. That was
Wow.
the first time number 86 was worn. There's a bunch of guys in the NFL, but like, again, they were kind of guys that I wasn't too familiar with. The NHL player, I knew who he was, and I think many people will know. But then the NBA player, I thought was just funny just because he looks like Vikaitis, in my opinion, from Semi-Pro. So after I say the name, after I give him the introduction, go Google this guy, and I think you'll kind of be along the same lines that he looks like the guy from Semi-Pro, or he'll at least remind you of him. But without dilly-dallying around too much here, let's get into our competitors for the cow chip tossing championship. Our first competitor, he was drafted in the second round, 60th overall by the Boston Celtics in the 2008 NBA draft. He only played 3 seasons in the NBA, 1 for the Boston Celtics and 2 for the Cleveland Cavaliers. In 69 games played, nice. He averaged 3.8 points per game, 2.8 rebounds per game, and 0.4 assists per game. A 7-foot, 240-pound center from Istanbul, Turkey, Semih Erdin. So if you want to go and look up this guy real quick here, Semiherdin, Semih Erdin. His competitor in the cow chip tossing competition. He was drafted in the first round, 21st overall by the Colorado Avalanche in the 2004 NHL entry draft. He played 8 seasons in the NHL for the Colorado Avalanche, Phoenix Coyotes, New York Rangers, Florida Panthers, and the Washington Capitals before heading overseas to play 8 more years of professional hockey in the KHL. He's a man who broke his neck. Yes, he broke his neck, and 16 months later, he played for Team Canada in the 2018 Olympic Games, scoring 3 goals and 1 assist. An Olympic bronze medalist and a KHL Gagarin Cup champion, a 6'3", 220-pound winger from Zabrze, Poland, Wojciech Wolski.
Sounds like you just had a stroke or something.
Yeah, try to say that name, Iggy.
Oh god. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Oh.
Okay, so I googled Zabrze, Poland. Zabrze is how it is. So I googled like how to pronounce it because I wanted to try and get it like the best I could, and I listened to it over and over again, and I kept like repeating it back out loud, and every time I was like, I don't think that's how to say it. Like it doesn't sound like how to say
it. That's crazy. It sounds like a GPS name, like when the GPS lady like glitches out and is like, "Please turn left on."
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Hey, no disrespect to our Zabrze of Poland listeners. If you guys are out there.
Yeah. Sorry for mispronouncing that name. Yeah. Zabrze, Poland. Wojciech and his name too. Wojtek, pronounced Wojciech Wolski. So
I loved him, man. I thought he should have played in the NHL longer than he did. Like the guy is an incredible hockey player. And just coming back from that broken neck, very resilient player. However, it's tough to compete in a throwing, like pure competition of strength when you're up against a 6 or 7 foot, 240-pound mountain of a man. I think it's a tough task. I think our buddy Semih Erdin takes this one easily.
I'm on the same page. I think Semih Erdin takes this one. Part of the problem is just like that wingspan. If nothing else, his wingspan of being able to throw that thing is going to account for like just a bit more distance. And 240 pounds behind this guy, he's got a lot of weight, a lot of power in that throw. Like you look at Wolski, he's 220. But like you just add the 240 into the 7 foot, like he's kind of a lankier body. So he's going to be able to like have some sort of power. He's not way too skinny. He's probably just a strong enough guy. And his arm is going to be so long. He's going to be able to slingshot that cow crap. It doesn't matter what kind of throwing position he goes, like Madison Bumgarner over the top or discus throwing from the side or shot put, whatever it is. He's going to be able to just use his arm and wingspan and like just launch that piece of crap across whatever surface it is that they measure this on and be able to get it so much farther than Wojciech Wolski. I think that it's very commendable that he came back from a broken neck, played in the Olympics, had 3 goals and an assist, but I don't think it's enough to beat Semi Erden in the cow chip tossing championship.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. I agree with you. There we go. Erden takes this.
Semi Erden takes episode 86, cow chip tossing championship. What a competition that is. Honestly, that's disgusting. Imagine the smells that would come from that competition.
No, I don't even
like, just gross.
That's tough. That's just imagine being from Beaver, Texas. With that, like year after year.
Yeah, there's just people who come to your city to throw poo around.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's what your town's known for.
Yeah, throwing poo.
You know, I'm sure it's a blast. I'm sure they have the best time with their chip trucks and all their
parades
their, like,
and
yeah, the whole little carnival. It sounds like will happen over their little fair. Or, good energy. There's a good energy in the gym. Energy Beaver, Texas, which is cool.
It is cool, but yeah, still a disgusting competition. Anyways, we've teased a couple times now that we've been having these great guests that we've interviewed and have lined up ready to go for these last couple of weeks. And last week we introduced Ty Bridgewater, the iced coffee review guy. It was a great interview. We got to learn a lot about him and kind of just why he started doing iced coffee reviews and how he turned into like a TikTok sensation kind of overnight. Basically overnight through his like him and his buddy wanting to do this 75-day hard challenge that kind of turned into him randomly running a marathon around a track for 105.5 laps and doing all these different things that he never really thought he would do, getting a manager, a PR person that like books him into all these things, getting him sponsors and stuff. So just for a guy who went to Brock, was dreaming of being a wrestling coach and now is a TikTok star, like it's just kind of crazy how that turned around. But this next guest we have is potentially way more well-known, especially in the Toronto area for those who listen to the radio on the way into school, work, whatever it may be. I know McGee picked up on this guy because of driving into high school every morning. He listened to Kiss 92.5, hearing this familiar voice, hearing someone who's became so popular in the Toronto area and the media personality. And honestly too, like you think about the red carpet work this guy has done, going to the TIFF and everything like that. Like he's gotten his face out there and became more than just a producer, now appearing in TV shows and movies as like a side character or someone just walking by in the background. But it's our pleasure to introduce episode 86 guest, Maurie Sherman.
We now welcome to the pod someone really...
Oh, sorry, are you rolling?
We now welcome to the pod.
Oh, okay, I'm ready.
Maurie, I think you're the intro included something about you being a titan of radio. So you may have to take the lead on the intro on this one. Introduce yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, me.
See, somebody that really needs no introduction. I'm sure you guys have all listened to him like I have, driving to high school in the morning on Kiss 92.5. He's a titan of Toronto radio. Please welcome to the pod now, Maurie Sherman.
What the hell does Titan mean?
Like a Titan? Like a Titan's like
I imagine
dominates the industry.
Well, I imagine someone wearing like a toga or something. Is that like a Titan? And you're like
a Greek
Spartan?
mythological, something like that. Like the creativity.
Oh, I feel like with the word Titan, I should be like much better physically.
Yeah, maybe like a nice green screen background of some ruins or something,
or many men running behind me. Okay.
Yeah. Well, for next time, when we get you on next time, we'll have to better prepare to fit the Titan aesthetic we're going for here.
Looking forward to that one.
Awesome. Well, first things first, Maurie, I'm a huge fan of yours and know our listeners are as well. I listen to the Rosenboka most mornings on my way to school, as I've mentioned, and having you on the show is a privilege. So for those who aren't aware, or aware of you from your antics on the airwaves. Could you shine a little light on who you are, like, and what your role is kind of on the show, as well as how it came to be?
Okay, so I've been radio for like ever. Starting behind the scenes and then just I guess working my way to sort of just being like a character on shows and stuff. And I just enjoy like just doing random nonsense. I love it. I love making people laugh. Like if I do something and somebody laughs, then my day is made. I love that because I think that's what radio is all about. It's just having a good time, putting all of your troubles of the day aside. So what I do is like, well, I produce the show, I book guests, blah, blah, blah. That's like the boring part, but I just do random stuff for the show, whether it's calling people randomly, telling jokes, ripping band-aids from my arm. Like, I'm there to be, as they say, the foil, right? So the guy if you need someone to make fun of, here I am. So yeah.
So
That's
how
a
did
pretty
you
sweet gig.
So how did you get involved in radio, and then how did working on the Roz and Mocha show come to be?
I've been in radio since like 95, like interning at other stations and, befriending a guy that I used to listen to all the time in the evening show, who since passed. His name was Punch Andrews. And like he used to do like this, like he used to sound like this on the radio, like, total deep voice party kind of what radio used to be. And I used to, when I worked at a movie theater, would phone him on my breaks all the time and just spend my entire break talking to him on the request line. And then he finally said, do you want to come in? And then it was one of those situations where I was in the studio hanging out with him, doing things like, back before there was computers that played all the music, you'd have to pull all the CDs of every song for the next person's show. So during your show, you had to pull like over 100 CDs for the next person. Right. So I would do that for him, like pulling all these CDs. And then somebody came in the room saying, well, do you want to like do other shifts and stuff? And it literally was right place, right time that got me into, I studied radio, but before that, right place, right time to get into the building and do random shifts and do random stuff. Then, the other shows there, I'm like, hey, do you need someone to go on the street and phone in and act stupid? I'll do it. I'll do it. And, the rest is history. So I've spent like 20 some odd years being an idiot. So if they ever say that you'll get nowhere in life being an idiot, I'm proof that you can.
Well, let's hope that holds out for Ryan and I, because I know we're both 22, 23 here, and we've pretty much been idiots the entire time. So let's hope it continues to pan out.
We'll be idiots together.
Perfect.
Maurie, I want to know, was you calling Punch Andrews? Was that something that you kind of had like in your mind as a pathway for a potential career, or were you just a big fan of his? And
I wanted to get into radio. Like getting into radio was just a dream, but it wasn't like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And by the way, good ear remembering the name. I didn't know what I wanted to do in radio. I just knew that I had to be there. It's like one of those things, like if you love hockey, I'm going to hang outside the practice arena and meet Morgan Riley or Mitch Marner and stuff like that, because I want to meet them and maybe they'll let me clean their skates or something, just anything to just get in, so that I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew it had to happen.
Right. So you were not only a graduate of the radio and television program at Humber College, but also an inductee of the school's Hall of Fame. How did your experience at Humber prepare you for a professional career? And then what was the experience like getting inducted into the Hall of Fame there?
Okay, well, you got to find on YouTube or something a clip of me doing the speech for that, because it's really funny. I spent a lot of time writing that. So
okay,
let me throw to a clip and hopefully you'll edit it in. Well, here's a clip of me during my acceptance speech. Like, here's a good laugh. I'm so honored and humbled to be here this evening to accept this award on behalf of myself. So a radio frequency analyst walks into a bar. Oh, that megahertz. There's a little secret I have to tell you folks. I don't like AM radio. To anyone that likes AM, I say FM. The Hall of Fame. Two things I've always loved together at last. Halls and fame. There's Jerry Hall, Arsenio Hall, Michael C. Hall, Hall & Oates, our beloved Let's Make a Deal host Monty Hall, Annie Hall, Holly Berry. We've got Hall's Cough Drops.
Hallelujah. To be recognized for one thing I know how to do, and the one thing I'm passionate about doing is incredibly overwhelming. Unfortunately, this is not an award for stamp collecting.
Okay, so what was the experience at Humber like? Well, look, I was already doing overnights at a talk station and had some radio experience behind me, but I think what Humber did was teach me the professionalism that you needed for radio. It taught me the things that maybe actually doing the work wouldn't teach you. It taught you, different, I guess, old radio lessons and experiences and the professionalism that you need for something you're already doing. And there were times where during class, because I'd work overnights at the talk station, so I'd fall asleep during class, and the teacher would allow me to because I was already doing what you're teaching. So let him sleep. Somebody give him the homework, and la di da. So, but yeah, I got in crap at Humber too, because like for some reason I locked myself into the school's radio station and just thought it'd be funny to play the Guess Who over and over and over again for hours.
Yeah, it sounds like you'd be a big hit with your classmates there. The guy who just has the
Sid Sixero.
And...
Sid Sixero was in my class.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he sat next to me.
That's pretty funny.
Awesome.
To go from there into a professional career on radio, whether it be in sports or just general talk shows or morning shows or the afternoon, however that may be, what advice would you give to someone who's looking to get into that field? Like, what kind of things do they have to be doing, or how should they be acting, or different things along those lines to be able to pursue that kind of career?
I mean, it was totally different when I started my pursuit for radio. And immediately what I would say to your answer now is doing exactly what it is that the two of you are doing. Exactly what you're doing with podcasts and YouTube channels, because that's how you're going to get the experience of talking under your belt and being able to have a conversation in front of a microphone and hearing the sound of your voice in the headset, right? Because that in itself is freaky to a lot of people to hear how they sound in headphones. But what you're doing now is bullseye to what you should be doing. Sure, studying, absolutely, but I honestly feel that you'll get more love as far as trying to get into the doors of radio stations or TV stations by experience and doing what it is that you're doing, which, or trying to, whether it's intern somewhere and stuff. I always say intern, and I always say trying to befriend people that are in the business, but ultimately what you guys are doing is amazing. Like, that's key, because having no experience in front of a microphone and getting into a radio station is in detriment, I think. So I think this helps.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty crazy. Sorry, go
ahead. Your question was longer than my answer.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's definitely crazy looking back at some of our first episodes. We talked about it a little bit previously on the pod, how our very first episode, when we decided this is what we wanted to do, we actually forgot to plug in the mixing board. So we had a whole episode of just silence. And then from there, it was kind of like just a learning curve. So
please tell me you posted that, because that would be funny. Like, I would have posted that going,
no,
here's our first podcast. We forgot to plug everything in.
An hour of nothingness.
That's funny.
Incredible. But you mentioned people not liking the sound of their own voices. And that's kind of leads me into my next question. So people,
do I like the sound of my own voice? Of course I do.
Well, okay. Well, that's good. Not many people can say that. So that's pretty good of you to have that confidence. But when you're in the car, do you tune into Kiss 92.5 and listen to kind of like your show, or are you more of an aux man in the car?
No, I only listen to radio in the car, but I can't listen to our show when we're in the car because I'm not in the car when we're on the radio. But I mean, I listen to our best of show on the weekends and stuff. But I listen to it differently, because I listen to what could we have done differently in that segment. Was there a different moment where we could have, as I say, get out? Like, was there a different moment where the break could have been shortened, or could I have, oh, damn, I had a better punchline, or, that kind of stuff. That's what I listen to. But I also, and I think this is important and okay to say, I listen to other shows or other stations when I'm in the car. Two reasons. One is I like to hear the stories they're doing in case there's anything I could steal, which is completely fine. That's called research, because they steal stuff from us too, don't forget. And I also like to hear just what they're doing and how they sound, because I think that it's important to know what everybody else is doing out there and how they're doing something. Maybe they're going to do the same story you already did. You're hearing it on the drive home, and you could hear how that same story was done differently. Like, I'm sure you guys listen to other podcasts or other sports nonsense. I'm not a sport, like other, go team. But to hear how they do the same stories that you did, and that's a better take on that, or I like how they did that, maybe we can implement that on our podcast. Or when you get really passionate and angry about something for no apparent reason, that could go viral. So I listen to radio. I don't look, if it's Friday after the show was an amazing week, am I going to put on Madonna from Apple Music? Absolutely. But I listen to other radio all the time, because that's our bread and butter.
Yeah, I got two kind of follow-up questions to that. One, do you mind sharing who your favorite radio personality is right now? And then the second follow-up question, on that Friday night pub drive home, obviously you want to get fired up with Madonna. Do you have a favorite Madonna song? What's your go-to, the first song on Maurie's Get Psyched mix?
I might bring Matthew in for this, for the answering of the favorite Madonna song, because that'll be a treat for you guys. Can I go get him? Do you mind?
Yeah, no, not at all.
Tell him there's no video or he won't come in.
Yeah, that's okay.
Wait, check. Okay, there they are. Okay, so they want to know, this is the podcast we're doing right now. They want to know our favorite Madonna song.
Our favorite Madonna song?
Or yours. Do yours. I don't know. I say ours because I assume we share some. Lean in. It's a microphone. They can't hear you from there.
There's so many. So this is hard. But if I have to pick one, maybe Vogue. Is that what I thought you'd pick? Vogue?
I mean, Vogue. Yeah, sure. I would say Vogue. But I also like some of that new stuff like Rebel Heart.
Yeah. Okay. Well, nothing compares to her older stuff. But I mean, I like it all.
Okay, on the fly, can you do the breakdown from Vogue? Greta Garbo and Monroe.
Oh my God, Dietrich
Antomaggio, Marlon Brando, Jimmy Dean on the cover of a magazine, Grace Kelly, Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers dance on air. They have style.
Grace, Rita Haywood, Gaping Face,
Lauren, Catherine Menatoon, Betty Davis, we love you. Ladies with an attitude, fellas are in the mood. Don't just stand there. Let's get to it. Strike a pose. And
the dog is getting into it.
That was amazing. Hey.
No. Matthew wondered if the whole podcast was about Madonna.
No.
Look at these guys. Do they look like they only want to talk about Madonna? I know, because he has Leafs jerseys behind him. Okay, take the dog out of here. There you go.
That was an answer we couldn't have asked for. That was perfect.
And what was the other? Who do I enjoy listening to else on the radio?
Yeah, like I'm more.
Oh my
God,
I don't. Go ahead.
I was a Carol Off fan before she retired. As it happens on CBC. Just love the sound of her voice. So soothing. Put me right to sleep. Okay. I'll mention some people that I've worked with who I quite enjoyed and who I learned a lot from. Because current people on the radio, I'll be honest with you, Roz and Mocha and the show that we do, it's awesome. I'm really proud to say that I think that it's something that is brilliantly done. And would you not agree? You're looking at me like I'm wrong. No, you're right. It is. I wouldn't have listened if it was garbage. True. It's amazing.
But I'll say this. I quite enjoyed, and I was his very first producer, Jim Richards, who is on News Talk 1010. I think that's fine to say. I really enjoy how he does talk radio, and I learned a lot from him. Punch Andrews. I loved working with him. Just his energy. I learned a lot about his energy. And one of the people who I strived to work for when I first was when I was a kid and I first realized I wanted to get in radio was Rob Christie. And then I finally got to work with that guy and be his producer. And that guy to this day is somebody who I idolize. ...
Throughout all your experience that you've had in radio, not just getting to work, like call into these people's
by the way,
shows,
you guys will be singing a Madonna song later together. So don't think you're not. Go ahead.
Oh, I'll have to quote the lyrics.
Yeah. You've had the opportunity to work with many great people, but you've also had the privilege of interviewing some great talents, entertainers, whatever the case may be. Who is your favorite person that you've got to interview?
Okay, so there's a couple. I really enjoyed interviewing Benedict Cumberbatch because he was one of the nicest people. I thought he was absolutely amazing. We had super fun together. John Cusack, because I wanted him to critique my commercial read. And Now, keep in mind, this was at the Toronto Film Festival. So when you go into the hotel room, you have like 4 or 5 minutes with these people, right? Like they really, and they're down to the wire. Like they'll time you, they'll count you down, and they'll drag you out by your hair if you go over. But he was having fun yelling at me to try and get me to really do the commercial read better. You could find this. You got to play a clip because he was like, no, I don't believe you. Blah, blah, blah. Do it again. And they were wrapping us up. And he actually said, no, no, no. I want to keep going until he gets it. And he allowed me to go over time, which I thought was pretty awesome.
Wow.
Madonna was super. I mean, I interviewed her a few times at TIFF and stuff. I mean, I have no recollection. Thank God there's audio and video of this because I blanked out talking to her, but I do remember her poking my belly, asking why I was fat. Which, I mean, most people would find that offensive. To me, that's like, Madonna said I was fat. Oh my God, that's amazing. So the list goes on and on. It's so hard to say because there's been, and I'm not trying to like name drop or say like, you know, what, like, yay, how cool is this? But I mean, there's been so many and so many awesome moments. Jake Gyllenhaal on the TIFF red carpet when he was talking to a reporter further down, and he looked over, and he from way down there looked at me going, I knew I saw you over there. You know, and with like this guy, like he in front of everyone, like said how much fun we always have together. That was super great. I mean, it's just so many. It's just great.
Is there one person that you've been after for a while that you really want to interview that you've never gotten the chance to?
Mariska Hargitay.
And why is that?
Although when I said the name, I said the name a billion times, but it reminded me of Austin Powers when they were praying. Mariska Hargitay.
The love guru, Maurie.
The love guru. Same guy. Love guru. Do you remember that? When he was opening up the hospital, the special victims unit, and the button was a dong dong.
Yeah, it's like the greeting. Mariska Hargitay.
Yeah, Mariska Hargitay. I love that you knew that. To interview her would just be, you know, and I've prepared nothing for this interview, but it would just be a dream come true. And her husband's a famous actor. He's one of the leads on a show that you two should absolutely watch called Younger, with Hilary Duff.
Okay. I know someone who's watching that show right now. Actually, they said it's really good.
Oh, it's done now. Really, it's finished. 7 seasons. It's over. It wrapped up. But wow, that show's good. So her actual husband is the lead in that show. If you care. Okay.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier getting to work with Roz and Mocha and kind of the privilege that's been for you, but we're not going to ask you to pick a favorite. That's not the kind of where I'm going with this.
No, but that should have been. It was so funny because I knew you were going to do that, and I was going to tell Alessia from my PR department to tell you not to ask me that because that's not fair.
No, of course, we'd never do that. But what we are,
Alessia, are you there? Shut this whole thing down.
For the listeners who don't know, Alessia is the PR, the publicist for Maurie, who's keeping things in check.
She's fantastic. She's amazing.
Laureate grad, shout out Golden Talks. Anyway, so what we wanted to ask you was, who would you rather have on a desert island with to ensure your survival? Not who's your favorite.
Roz. I would say Roz because he's more, he's better at woodworking. He's better at survival skills. So it's nothing. I don't think that's anything to do with who's your favorite. I just think I would survive better with Roz because I think Mocha would just leave me for dead.
Yeah. How are you like that confident about his woodworking skills? When does that ever come up in the radio?
Because he's talked about that on the podcast and stuff where he talks about how he's built this, that, and the other thing.
Perfect. I guess it comes in handy.
Yeah. I assume if you need to build a hut.
Well, you just told me I didn't assume it would be that quick of an answer. Thought there would be more of a debate going on, but yeah,
and pick a better
at least
topic.
You know. At least you know.
Yeah.
So some of you may not know, Maurie had an illustrious career in TV and in film in roles such as Jason Phillips in Private Eyes, Orderly in Houston and Rex, and
Hudson and Rex.
Oh, Hudson and Rex, sorry. And the most iconic role as passerby in Murdoch Mysteries.
Iconic. Yeah, my one line, best of the day.
How did your acting career begin? And would you want to get back in front of the camera again in that kind of way?
No, my dream is to have a walk-on role on every Canadian TV show. I think that'd be absolutely hilarious. Where if you watch them all, you're like, oh my God, there's that guy again. I think that's hilarious. I just give me one line. I know with Private Eyes, they give me like a whole scene, but I'm fine with just saying best of the day, Inspector, or you know what what was it again? Winnie, you know what they say about idle hands. That was from Frankie Drake Mysteries. When I said that line, I just think it'd be hilarious to just do a walk on in every show. I think it's fun. Radio's still my passion, but doing these little moments for acting is the best. Plus, they have great food on set.
That's incredible. You're like the Stan Lee of Canadian media.
Yeah, who Stan Lee only does that because of Alfred Hitchcock. So I'll be the Alfred Hitchcock of Canadian TV.
Okay, see, that's something I didn't know.
Yeah, every Alfred Hitchcock movie, he does something. Or M. Night Shyamalan, he does the same thing where he'll walk by or do something.
I guess Tarantino, I guess, to an extent, right? But
Tarantino writes himself.
Role.
Yeah, he writes himself into the scenes, whereas M. Night, Alfred Hitchcock, and Stan Lee, they just Stan Lee speaks, but Alfred will just walk by, in front of the car at a red light or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Maurie, going back to the sorry, go.
No, I'm like, that's all I have to say about
that. Going back to the red carpet at TIFF and all those events where you're interviewing these, we're not going to name drop, but there's a lot of them, as you said. Mm-hmm. And in these interviews, for people who aren't aware, you wear a bike helmet with a helmet cam, like a camera on the helmet cam. How did that originate? And has it been the same helmet all these years?
Same helmet for like 15 years now. And Bradley Cooper put the helmet on. Ryan, oh God, Deadpool, Ryan
Reynolds.
Jesus. Ryan Reynolds put it on. But no, because originally for a previous morning show that I worked for, I came up with the idea because I wanted him to wear it behind the mixing board to give like a point of view of the studio or whatever. And he said, there's no way in hell I'm ever going to wear that. You wear it. So I wore it, and we had, a Playboy model come in the next day. And I remember the video because it wasn't positioned right. There's no screen or any way to see it. All you got was boobs the whole time. So thus began the head cam. I just love how the video is always just god awful.
And then what happens with that footage? Do you have it like saved somewhere at home?
No, I put it on YouTube and on the KISS website. Like if we'll play the audio from the interview on the radio, and then the video is, I guess, accompanying that online.
Okay.
That's incredible. You know what you should have done when those guys put the helmet on? I know a few years back when the Raptors were playing the Golden State Warriors in the NBA playoffs, Drake took a little lint out of Steph Curry's hair and sold it on eBay for like 25 grand or something.
Yeah.
You should search for little hairs that they left behind.
There might still be a Bradley Cooper original piece of hair in there.
Yeah. You can clone them.
Yeah. We'd have to send it away for DNA testing or something because who knows whose hair it could be.
Yeah.
It could be dog hair.
More getting into more of like a deeper question here. Just recently, you were asked to raise the pride flag at your family home by your father. What exactly did that mean to you? And was he always so unconditionally supportive of you?
No, not at all. I mean, it started off obviously, not obviously. I mean, it wasn't always the greatest because back then he just wasn't sure what was going on, or maybe it was a phase, blah, blah, blah. And then over years and years, he got incredibly supportive because it started off where I wouldn't say he wasn't supportive. I just think he didn't know. He was confused. Like he didn't, what is this? Like, I mean, first of all, I till this day, I'm like, how did you not know? Like, how did you not know? But no, he became awesomely supportive and amazing with Matthew. And this year, because in the area they live in Burlington, Ontario, pride flags were being stolen or burned. So he thought, tell you what, we have a flagpole in the backyard. Nobody can come and steal that, so let's raise that. They'll see it all over across the highway. And I thought that was magical, moving, memorable, and many other M words I can think of. It was just amazing. And a step, as I said in The Advocate, huge gay magazine, I said, it was like planting the flag in the moon. It was one giant step for gay kind. You better laugh at that line. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good line.
And then also, so obviously you're a huge supporter of Pride Toronto, and Pride Toronto is celebrating their 40th anniversary this year. As somebody who's been actively involved, not only supporting Pride Toronto, but many other LGBTQ, Spirit Plus friendly organizations like Friends of Ruby, for example, what does Pride Toronto look like this year with lockdown restrictions and COVID having the impact that it has?
It's the second Pride for it to be virtual, so they have, I guess, they have that experience from last year. But I'll tell you, even last year when they did it virtually, wow, they did a great job with that. It was fantastic because it could have been a nightmare. It could have just been an online thing of nothing. It could have just looked terrible, but it was amazing. And this year, I hosted the opening night party for Pride, and visually, it was wonderful. They did such a great job. I introduced some performances. I introduced the mayor, and Priyanka is hosting the Pride Parade this year virtually. And it's awesome because, you know, they still have the people, I guess, who would be on the floats, but they have like a DJ playing. They'll cut from different people, and it's just great. And I think it's even more important to do it virtually when given the opportunity, because it just means we have to be louder. It just means we have to be more visual because we're not taking over Yonge Street, the largest street in Canada this year. So we have to do even more to be seen. Right. So I think that's the important thing of it. So doing anything I can for Pride, always a big deal. This Friday for several hours, I'm volunteering, putting together, I don't know the other way of saying this, but I want to, it's not a gift bag, but gift bags for shelters and stuff. I guess some sort of bag of stuff.
Yeah. Adequate way of saying it.
Yeah, so we're filling up the bag with pamphlets and other things and shirts and stuff and shipping them off to shelters, and I couldn't be happier than to give my time to them, because I'm rambling, but I watched several documentaries that came out recently because of this being Pride Month, and it's unbelievable the path that so many people like Martha P. Johnson and others paved for us. Right. So I'm given this opportunity. I'm given this lifestyle because of what they did. Right. So I feel I have to give back and I have to volunteer because I was given this opportunity because of them. So how can I just sit back and party and not give back when given the opportunity?
No, that's awesome. I think that's a really good way to contribute and continue to raise awareness and stuff. And I think that's really cool to be able to give back like that and be able to just not only take part in the activities that are going on, but to actually be so involved to give back and respect and appreciate what was done beforehand. I think is it's really cool.
I'll say this on the Roz and Mocha show, because there's not many out gay people on radio across Canada. So the fact that I'm given the opportunity whenever possible to speak of my relationship with my husband or, you know, my lifestyle and stuff, I think it's amazing that I could turn on a microphone and speak to so many people about, you know, about the experiences I'm having.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I have one more. I have one more question for you, actually. I'm not sure if you're too familiar, but there was a guy in the NFL who just came out the other day. His name is Carl Nassib. He's the first active NFL player.
Yeah, and now I read today that his jersey is the best-selling jersey right now.
Yeah,
which is pretty awesome. That's amazing. And then the NFL matched his donation to the Trevor Project.
Yeah,
which is super cool. Nobody, which is amazing. Nobody has said anything bad about this. Everybody's being so super supportive. So I'm like, that's incredible.
Yeah, I think that the support and stuff and the response to it has been absolutely incredible. Especially I thought the jerseys being the number one selling jersey on the jersey sales. It was the Fanatics website, was a really, really cool response to him coming out. But I just was curious, how do you think that this will continue to play out through professional sports? Do you think that more people will be comfortable with coming out, or do you think that it'll be something that people should be able to be confident in terms of how they're respected and seen around in professional sports?
I think that there will still be hesitation because for some reason, athletes have it in their mind that it's not okay. And I think it has a lot to do, and you tell me if I'm wrong, I think it has a lot to do with being in a all-male team atmosphere, the locker room atmosphere, and fears they have of how their teammates will respond in the locker room, changing in front of each other, so on and so forth. I think that this and others that have happened, David Archuleta from American Idol this week as well came out. I think that when people do come out, it's another brick in the yellow brick road to the palace of acceptance. And I think that the more people who do it and the less backlash there is from it will make it more okay for others to do so. But I do think there'll always be fear and always be hesitation, which is not okay, but I understand why.
Right.
But it's the people like you who are kind of going out and making a difference and helping out with the events and spreading awareness as much as they can that will kind of destigmatize or remove any kind of uncomfortability around the topic. And it like you said, the Carl Nassib coming out has been less of an event as it has been previously. And I think that's an amazing thing.
Or Colton Underwood from The Bachelor and stuff like that. Although I'll say this, Colton Underwood, I think that because now he's going to do on a reality show, I think that the NFL situation, I have more heart for that one because he didn't want anything from it. He gave a donation, right? He gave a donation to the Trevor Project, which is amazing. And he just said, look, I'm not doing this for publicity. Here's why I'm doing it. I think he did it more tactfully.
Yeah.
Right.
There's almost like a nonchalance to it where it was just like not a big deal at all. Like here it is. I think kind of this the time
he didn't go on Good Morning America.
No.
Right. That. Like,
quick little video probably took him 5 seconds on his phone.
Wow. The lighting was great. So I feel that it took a little longer because he had to find some good lighting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's what I'm going to do. No, Zach. Okay. Raise your hands so your hands are not on the keyboard. Okay.
Okay.
You can't Google anything.
Yeah.
Toronto Maple Leafs number 22. Who is it?
Right now. Oh, on my jersey behind me?
Rick Vive, probably. If I had to guess.
Man. I actually don't know who it is.
You can't have
on the jersey behind me.
Behind you and not know whose jersey it is.
I don't know. I
actually 26. Is that 26 on the other one?
Yeah, it's 26. Do
you not know either?
No, I know 22. I actually don't know which one 26 is.
So who's 22?
I knew
on
22.
That jersey.
No, I can't remember right now. I'm blanking. I did not.
On the spot.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Man, I can't remember.
Okay,
I do have
a
jersey below it. I do have a.
No, I'm asking you about those two jerseys. I don't want to know about the jerseys you know. I want to know
about
those
check?
two jerseys.
You can't take them out of the framing, but
no, I can't take it.
Oh, they're in the frame.
Yeah, it's in frame.
That's hilarious. I don't even care anymore. I just love that you have no idea.
Yeah, I can't remember right now. I do know.
Okay, on the next podcast, you guys can unveil who's actually.
We might have to. Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Okay.
I feel as though you have to throw those. You do not deserve those. Got him.
Wow. I think 22 might be.
It's got to be Rick Vive.
Yeah, I think that's who it is.
26. I have no idea. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I can't remember who 26 is. They are signed jerseys though.
They're actually signed. Well, then can you read the autograph?
Yeah. I can't read the one that's 26, but I'm pretty sure that 22 does say Rick Vive.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. I do have a Leafs.
I feel as though you do not deserve to have those jerseys anymore. I know. So we'll auction them off on the next podcast.
Yeah.
Maurie, we have one final question for you. That's been
I do not know who number 22 of the Leafs is.
No, it has to do with movies. Obviously, I feel like you're well versed in the world of film and cinemas. You've gone to the TIFF a whole slew of years. So it's been an ongoing debate in our friend group whether or not this one particular movie is good or not. It's kind of I'm kind of being like bullied. I'm being ganged up on it. I love this movie, and everybody else thinks it's a garbage movie. But I need your input. What do you think about the movie?
Devil Wears Prada.
Great movie, but Baby Driver.
Oh, okay. It was fun. Would I say it was a great movie? No, but it was fun. It was entertaining.
It was enjoyable.
It wasn't like I'm not going to put it on the same pedestal as like Pulp Fiction or Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, no, of
Devil
course
Wears Prada. Or 13 Going on 30, also iconic movie. It was good. That's what you no. I mean, there are better movies.
No, of course. I'm not saying it's like the greatest movie of all time,
Please
but I don't
don't.
think it deserves the hate. I don't think it deserves
No,
the hate.
I don't just think I agree with you on that. I don't think it deserves any hate, but I would not waste my time on a debate.
Yeah, that's
Fair
true.
enough.
I guess
Baby
I'm in the
Driver.
wrong then.
I will say
I'm
this.
defending its honor.
I'll say this. I interviewed the director of that, and I remember that he smelled fantastic. And I remember the cologne he was wearing was Le Labo Rose 31.
He's got a good nose.
Did
No,
you
'cause I
ask
have
him,
this-
or did you
I
just
know-
know that?
I know I knew that because and here's how I knew that. It meant to me that he was staying at a Fairmont hotel in the city, because Fairmont hotels always use Le Labo Rose 31 shampoos, conditioners, and moisturizers. So I called them out on. I'm like, "You're staying at a Fairmont. You're probably staying at the Royal York." He's like, "Yeah, how do you know?" I'm like, "Because you smell like their shampoo."
That's pretty funny.
And that's
The
why
detective work.
Baby Driver is a great movie, because the director smelled good.
Nice.
Fair,
All right, there
that's
you
good
go.
enough reason as any.
Yeah. Now, if you're ever debating 13 Going on 30, Devil Wears Prada, or Green Mile, or any of those iconic movies, I'll gladly help you debate.
Okay,
Have you
I do
seen
have
13? Have you seen 13 Going on 30?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
I do have to ask. So one of the things that we ended up debating on here, because I mostly have only seen sports movies for the most part, and we had a debate. I think it was a couple months ago. Miracle on Ice and Moneyball. Have you seen those movies?
I've seen Moneyball. I've not seen.
Or no, the
Miracle on
blind
Ice.
side. The blind side.
Oh,
and,
The Blind Side.
Blind
and-
Side,
and-
of
yeah,
course.
okay. The Blind Side and Moneyball.
Okay, yes.
Which one would you consider to be the more rewatchable movie?
Oh. Okay, I would say Blind Side.
Hmm.
I think so too. I think blind. It's just
I
because
think
it's
it has
the
a
whole
different,
family
better
dynamic.
message. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got something for the whole family in that movie.
I'm guessing you said the other one. I'm guessing. You
Yeah,
said Moneyball.
yeah. I said Moneyball.
Moneyball was at the TIFF, and that was the red carpet where I asked Angelina Jolie if she could play any position at baseball, what would she play? And her answer was, "I don't know enough about baseball," and kept walking.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, I love Moneyball. I think that just the storytelling of how it all happened and how everything went down. Obviously, I really, really liked The Blind Side. I think The Blind Side was an incredible movie, but I just think that
Okay.
from
What's a better rewatchable? We'll end on this. What's a better rewatchable movie? Blind Side, Moneyball, or Baby Driver?
It's gotta be
Moneyball.
blind side for me.
Okay. There
Okay.
you go.
Maury's answer is Baby Driver. He's just too embarrassed to say.
No, I have no.
But yeah, Maury, that just about wraps it up. We wanted to just thank you again so much for coming on. It's been an absolute privilege to have you on the show and get to chat with you and have you share some of your stories and experiences with us. Can't thank you enough.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you very much for having me, and happy to come back on anytime.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
And the next time you do, I will know for sure the names of these the guys on the jerseys
I
behind
no longer
me.
care.
All right. Thank you, Maury. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Oh, if you're, make sure that you put something out on social to promote this for, then I'll
Of
retweet
course,
or
of course.
repost. That'd be
Okay,
great.
awesome. Thank
All
you
right,
very
take care,
much.
guys. Bye now.
Thanks.
We want to take this moment to thank Maury so much for joining us. I had a blast talking with this guy, somebody who I grew up listening to and still listen to. Incredible show, producer of the top radio show in the city, not even up for debate. I was kind of starstruck. It was just hearing that iconic voice. It cut me off in the beginning purposefully, and
Yeah.
he just bringing that big personality, bringing the energy. It was unreal to talk with him, and you could really just sense his professionalism. He's done that a time or two.
Yeah. It was cool. Like I know now, like we've got to talk to different pro athletes and stuff and interview them, or Phil Pritchard, and hear their stories. But now I think this is the third person that we've had on who's like a TV personality. And it's kind of cool getting to see the different ways that these people interact and like go through an interview process. Like you think about James Duthie, Cabby, and now Maury coming on the show, and like how they go about it. I think it's cool for us too, to get to interview these people, because like you interview someone who normally gets interviewed and they respond differently to different things, and they respond in a certain way. And then you you interview someone who interviews other people, and now all of a sudden it's just a whole different dynamic of how the conversation goes. It's really cool to take part in.
And not gonna lie, it's pretty stressful too when you're planning interviews. Somebody who interviews people full time for a living, and well, obviously a titan of Toronto radio, as I said earlier.
Yeah.
This guy is you got to bring your A game. What I want to know, Zach, is did you figure out who the jerseys are behind you?
Yeah, so 22 is Rick Vive, for sure. 26, one second.
Is it Carlo? Oh, it's sick.
No, it's not Carlo Koliakovo. I do know who it is because I asked my dad. Alan Stanley. He was Tim Hortons' defense partner.
Alan Stanley. Well, there we go, Maury. Now we know.
Yeah.
Now we know the jerseys. We are no longer.
See, the thing is, I knew 22 was Rick Vive, but I was thrown off because it was like a newer era jersey, not like the new ones that they have now, but like newer than Rick Vive would have worn. And then the other one, I knew that it was a guy who like I wouldn't necessarily like know who he is just based on like popularity. Like he's not like the most popular Maple Leaf to ever play. He is like well known, but and especially being Tim Hortons' D partner, it's like, okay, yeah, that's Alan Stanley. But like I was just so thrown off by the Rick Vive. I didn't want to confidently throw out Rick Vive and then be like, oh yeah, it's a newer jersey. Like, wait, no, it's not. And you said Rick Vive. I'm like, I think that's what it is. I just don't want to confirm it.
Any other 22, Maple Leaf were 22. That's crazy.
Nikita Zaitsev.
Oh yeah. At the 26 though, that again, like the Rick Vive one you said, is also a newer version of
yes. Yeah.
Well, compared to when Alan Stanley would have played. So
yeah, in the 60s.
Right. It's a little confusion. It's throwing you for a loop.
Yeah. The Alan Stanley one was like would have been a reach for me to get on the spot. That's like one that I wouldn't just like know, but I did know Rick Vive. I just couldn't. I was like, I don't want to confidently say it is because it's a newer jersey. I might be completely off here.
Yeah, relentless with his line of questioning. It was just like go.
Yeah, and I was so thrown off. Wow, what an interview that was. I'm so pumped up about the interviews that we've gotten to do and some of the things that we're trying to schedule moving forward here, McGee. But what an episode 86. I think that was a great player competition followed by an incredible interview with Maurie Sherman, getting to learn about his career in broadcasting, kind of just how he badgered his way into the radio business, but in like the most respectful way possible, just calling into radio stations and getting that. And yeah. And getting onto a radio show by calling in from his movie theater job, and then next thing you know, he's a titan in the radio broadcasting industry, and
soon to be on every single Canadian show.
Yes,
some capacity. Like we'll make it happen. We will. We'll get the lads bump going. Also, don't want to jinx it. However, are we about to have lads and lawn chairs guests? Three-peat Stanley Cup champions?
Yeah, well, so Robert Thomas with St. Louis, Anthony Cirelli last year. Now we're going for Anthony Cirelli again.
Yeah, pretty wild. That's
you know what actually would have been interesting here is that no matter who wins this cup, we will have a three-peat because you know who's rostered with the Montreal Canadiens? He's like a Michael McNiven. Yeah,
and Michael McNiven. We got two Montreal Canadiens.
Wait, who's the other one?
Pizzetta.
Oh, Pizzetta. Yes, Pizzetta. But he's with Laval. But McNiven, I'm pretty sure, is like the third goalie on the Canadiens right now.
Really?
Nice. Yeah. So regardless of how this one turns out, I hope it's Tampa. Just as a Leafs fan, I don't want to see the Habs win. But either way, we're gonna have 3 straight Stanley Cup champions from lads and lawn chairs. Either a two-peat or a third one that's just completely brand new to the Stanley Cup world. So pretty cool for us, I'd say. Good job by us.
Good job by us. Good eyes. Good pick. Good talent. Yeah. I'd say if you want to win a Stanley Cup, you know the drill.
Yeah. Basically, Marcus Phillips and Morgan Frost, like Stanley Cups are coming down the pipe for them.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
Yeah. Well, I think that about does it for episode 86, McGee. It's been a fun one.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the Maurie interview still blew my mind. Like I was talking to my brother about it. He is like, again, like me, is a huge fan. And he was like, what was it like? Like, how cool was it? Like, picking my brain about, I'm like, man, we'll just tune in Monday.
Yeah. Yeah. Just wait to listen, man.
So, but this is one that we'll promote the shit out of because people need to hear this. It's a great interview. I look forward to bringing people more content like this in the future. We'll keep this kind of routine and this good momentum going forward.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then we're going to plan a good college weekend for the gang.
Yeah.
That's what we got for too.
Exactly. All right, McGee. Episode 86. It's been a blast.
Yeah, it has been a blast. I guess I'm not going to put off it any longer. I think there's no other thing than just close it out. Why ruin something that's good by rambling more? So without further ado, catch us next week, same time, same place, same launchers. Cheers, lads and ladettes.
Cheers.